It's hard to think that this movie has its origins all the way back to the 70s, but it's true. The idea for a Vampirella movie was initially going to be done by Hammer Films way back in 1976. But alas, it fell into pre-production limbo and ended up having the rights to the movie change hands several times over 20 years. When those rights finally ended up in the hands of the one and only Roger Corman. So with a $1 million budget and less than 6 months to get it made, I give to you this is a superhero horror film that comes in at a quick 82 minutes and was released direct to video as part of the Roger Corman Presents series on the 28th of September 1996. The film was directed by Jim Wynorski and written by his friend and apparent Vampirella aficionado Gary Gerani. So look, the story revolves around Vampirella, a vampire from the planet Drakulon, who is out to seek justice for the death of her father. His murderer, Vlad, and his henchmen fled Drakulon to Earth, where Vampirella has tracked them down to seek vengeance on all of them for her father's murder. So this story is very much a straight up origin / vengeance story, spending most of the time explaining the whole Vampirella mythos of her backstory, Vlad's history on Earth, and the Drakulon race. It really turns the ideas of the traditional origins of vampires on Earth on its head, with vampires being the descendants of an alien race of vampires, which for me sounds as corny as it does.
Pretty corny, right?
Which by all accounts is the original origin of the Vampirella character. So the movie goes about retelling you what you thought about these vampires is really all wrong, and that they're aliens and not these mythical creatures we always thought they were. So look, sewn in between all of this backstory is Vampirella getting revenge on Vlad and tracking him down, which honestly was not too hard for her to do at all. But that can't be said for Purge, a paramilitary group dedicated to hunting vampires, who couldn't find him for years. Yet Vampirella hops on the scene for 5 seconds, sees him on a poster and goes, "Oh yeah, there he is, he's a big name rock star," and finds him within minutes. And Purge couldn't find him in years because he had a cheap looking hair extension clip in his hair. Seriously, what the But look, this is just one of many great examples of what this story is like throughout the film. It is just very flimsy and has more plot holes than a block of Swiss cheese. Now, let's not forget the dialogue, which sometimes I'm not sure whether it is the script or whether it's how the actors are saying it, because sometimes it is just terrible. But look, I'll get into the actors later. And of course, the most anticlimactic end to a movie I have possibly ever seen in my life. There is a chase scene that goes on forever to a final boss fight that is probably the shortest one I've seen. It is such a letdown. It just really ends the movie off with just her standing there and just no tying up of loose ends, no running off into the sunset. It's just her standing there. Then credits.
What? Is that it?
That has got to be one of the worst endings to a movie that I have ever seen. Overall, this was primarily an origin story that was supposed to lead into a sequel, but thank God that never happened. And with that, look, the best I could possibly do for this is a 5 out of 30.
I believe actions speak louder than words.
Now, I do know a little of Vampirella's backstory, and also from what I have read, this is a pretty reasonably faithful adaptation of the source material more so from the original origins of the character in the Warren Comics publications, more so than, say, her revamped origins in the Harris Comics and Dynamite Entertainment Comics. Now, the most obvious thing that you notice straight away is the bloody costume. It is close, but it is also very different at the same time, especially from the comics, which is strange. It's a very strange choice to change that, as if you look on the back cover of the DVD and promo shots, she's wearing the proper costume. So why didn't she have it in the movie?
In retrospect, it was a poor choice.
It's not like they couldn't make it. I mean, there it is there. It makes no sense, as Vampirella's costume is pretty iconic and well known for the character, and changing it, it just kind of really just makes no sense, and just, I don't know, you just have no association with that character.
Looks nothing like this.
I'll have the cast up here, and as you can see, it's a slew of B-grade actors with one major rock star thrown in for good measure, but we will get to him later. But let's start with our lead actress, Miss Talisa Soto. Not the best choice for this character. Okay, she does kind of look like Vampirella, but her acting was the biggest letdown by far, as she was so wooden, robotic, stiff at times, and had the emotional range of a potato. Or maybe a Brie Larson.
Pow!
The director said he didn't want to use Talisa in the movie, but the studio forced him to use her, as he wanted Julie Strand in the movie, and as he felt she was more like the character. I wonder why.
Boobs!
Anyway, now let's get on to our villain of the movie, Mr. Roger Daltrey. And as most of you out there would know him as the lead singer of The Who. Now, he looks like he was having a blast in this movie. He was hamming it up left, right and centre and just swinging for the fences. He was having the time of his life. Now, who knows why he was in this movie, as I did a bit of research and there really isn't much out there to say why, other than he was supposed to have got paid pretty good. But I don't know how good he got paid, considering the entire budget for the movie was just a measly $1 million. I don't know what he got paid with.
Drugs and sex and alcohol, okay?
As far as everyone else is concerned, they are average at best, but this is a Roger Corman movie, so the expectations here are pretty low. So all round, with some bad calls and some changes which didn't help the thing much, it's a bit of a mess all round. There were so many opportunities to make this better, but yeah, they dropped the ball on everything. So with that, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 20.
This is how you repay us.
As far as the case goes, I've got this version. There are a couple of versions out there, but they're very similar, just a headshot of her, which, let's face it, that's not really going to sell DVDs if you ask me. On the side, that actually isn't too bad. It does sort of stand out on your shelf. Not hard to find at all. And as far as the back goes, not a real lot on there. But as you can see, her in a proper costume there on the back. I mean, oh God, that goes without saying. But yeah, it's pretty basic. There's not a real lot to it. And the disc, well, it's just the shot of the front. Nothing special yet again. Overall, this is a pretty basic effort. But then in saying that, it really is a product of its time, because this came out years ago. So look, for that, like I said, it's not special. So for that, I'm only going to give it a 4 out of 10.
Harmless to humans, of course.
Now, this has got the bare minimum when it comes to special features. And all we get here is an audio commentary with the director, Jim Wynorski, the original trailer for the movie, cast biographies, and some preview trailers. Blood Ties, Dracula Rising, and Night Hunter. Nothing to write home about at all. But as I usually say, at least there's something on here. But it's not great either. So look, like I said, there's really nothing there unless you want to hear the audio commentary. But all in all, the best I'm going to do with that is 3 out of 10.
Just who do you think you're talking to?
As I bring up the Rotten Tomatoes scorecard, as you can see, the critic score came in at 0%, and the audience score came in at 19%, not much better. So look, the critic score, there was only a few reviews of the critic score, so it wasn't enough to register it, but from what I read of them, yeah, it was pretty much all bad. And as far as the audience reviews go, look, the general consensus across the board is, well, yep, it was bad. Look, there were a few people out there that said it was great, but I think they were saying it was so bad it was kind of good in a way, those type of people. Look, I think everyone here is on the same page when I say, this is a dog of a movie. So look, if we round it up, we're going to get a score of a whopping 2 out of 10.
As the last pure Drakulonian, you belong with the new world.
Well, what can you say about this Roger Corman, a masterpiece? Other than its low budget, rush production, campy acting, terrible script. Well, at least we got a Vampirella movie, right?
Yes, but at what cost?
I mean, if it wasn't for Roger Corman, we may still never have got a Vampirella movie to watch. Good, bad, or otherwise. So, thank you, Roger, I guess?
No need to thank me.
Look, of course it's bad, but now it kind of falls into that category of it's so bad, it's funny, and you do laugh at some of the ridiculous things that happen, and the bad acting, and the cheap sets, and all those things that make it into almost a parody of itself.
Ooh, that's not exactly what I was going for.
But in saying that, this movie did have potential to be better than it was supposed to be. As you can look, I find at times you can look past like the cheap sets or the average script if you have that one key thing, and in this one is your lead actress and star of your movie was somewhat good. At the end of the day, I kind of put the sole reason this movie really didn't work well onto Alyssa Soto's shoulders, as she was not really up to the task of carrying this movie. Her range of emotions was, well, it just wasn't there. She had no charm, she had no charisma, hell, she had no real sex appeal either, as this is probably considered one of the most sexiest comic book characters around, and Talissa just didn't really fit the bill for me. Hell, even the director didn't think so either.
It's true.
Look, for me, her miscasting in this role was pretty much the demise of this film. Even when you put everything else aside, look, without that strong foundation of your lead actor, everything else just falls around it. Look, I thought this movie was actually going to be a real struggle to watch, but it's funny how quickly it became fun as you started to laugh at all the bad acting, plot holes, etc. Instead of watching it for its, like watching it for a serious superhero film, you were almost watching it for a comedy. So look, for all of that, look, it's a terrible movie, and I'd be out of my mind if I gave it any more than 4 out of 20.
I am sorry to disappoint you, Raven.
Okay, if we look at the collectability, I'm going to put this at a 4, as it is very collectible. It is definitely something to have in your collection if you're a serious comic book movie collector or superhero collector. Yeah, look, if you're a casual collector, probably I wouldn't worry too much. But yeah, if you really are looking to get a lot of those sort of, something similar to what I've got, there's definitely high on your list to get. And it is very collectible because of how few there are out there. Which leads me to availability, and that it comes in at a 5. It is hard to get a hold of a copy. I'm not sure how limited the run was when they put it when they first out, because obviously, this movie wasn't going to do well, so they didn't think they were going to sell too many. So yeah, if you can get your hands on a copy, good luck to you. Which of course, that brings us to the average price, and you are looking at somewhere between, yes, $80 to up to $150 for a DVD. So very pricey indeed. And of course, there is nothing for Blu-ray or 4K HD as of this video. Now, for the final score, we get a grand total of 22 out of 100. Ouch, that is a terrible score. But it is deserved nonetheless, as this was one of those movies that, look, if you love your B-grade movies, or you're a serious superhero collector like myself, then you should be looking to put this in your collection. But if you're a casual fan, then yeah, this is one I would say to give a hard pass.
I don't need that crap.
Hey, so if you like this video and you want to see some more of my reviews, why don't you click that one there? Or maybe you want to see some of my collection updates. Why don't you click that one there? And don't forget to do the most important thing. Throw me a bat like, and don't forget to hit that subscription button, please. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.